Mike McCool here in the Royal Examiner studio, and with me today is Walt Mabe. Walt is a candidate for the Board of Supervisors in the Shenandoah District. Walt, just glad you're here with us. Want to kind of catch up. We talked to you not too long ago, but we want to kind of see how the campaign's going. Now that you're getting your feet wet, I mean, I know you're not a politician, so this is all new to you.
And it is all new. And I have learned so much over the last 100 days or so. And information is rolling around. And I want to be able to give the constituents and citizens of the county and the town the best job that I can give them, and to give them the understanding that I believe that they should have. And that's important to me, and it's important to my campaign, for us to put out the information that's correct.
Well, we're obviously, we're at every one of these meetings around town, the Board of Supervisors and everything else, and I noticed that you're sitting right there in the front row.
Absolutely.
When you're there at these Board of Supervisors meetings, so you're kind of glean the information as you can. So what do you think of all the things that's been going on in the last couple of weeks?
Truly, I think it's appalling. If every one of our supervisors and our 5 supervisors and 9 other individuals have been indicted, that's a very, very big issue. And it continues to put the shadow over the community as to what are we doing. And there are people out there that are saying enough is enough. And I'm listening to that. And with the hundreds of people that I have seen, there's one gleaming fact that keeps coming out, and we can claim it in 3 simple words: reform, reform, reform. And they're all the same word, they all mean exactly the same thing, and people want change, and we want to give it to them. And I'm the candidate that can do that.
Well, good. So what do you think, kind of as a background, or the emphasis on how this stuff even occurred? I mean, the Royal Examiner's published over 250 stories on the EDA and tried to bring it to light. It's not like they weren't told. Was their head in the sand? I mean, I wonder sometimes.
I believe that there were red flags being given out, and I believe that there are people like Mrs. Eggert that wanted very desperately to put the information out there. She was trying desperately to put that stuff out there. And the Board of Supervisors and others, not just the Board of Supervisors, basically pushed it under the rug. And had they been listening, they should have asked for the audit. They should have stopped what they were doing. They should have stopped their forward motion. Should have talked to the state, should have put out press releases, should have done so many things that would have just bogged it down. And they didn't do it.
Right. Well, of course, it's easy for us in hindsight to look at it. And as you well know, and you'll find out if you get elected, that it's a lot different when you sit on the other side, because all of a sudden now you have this information, and not trying to make it light of the situation, but you're right on those issues that maybe a little more light should have shined on some of these issues. And sometimes we get so close to the situation in their case that they say, well, that couldn't happen. That couldn't happen. People don't believe it. But stuff like this does. And I really think that the indictments is kind of an indication that people want our elected officials to take this job seriously.
Yes, that's correct. The people that are running is part of the change, is part of the reform. And they wish to do the best job that they can, but they can only do that job with the best information that they have. People have got on me as early as a couple of days ago to say, you're not standing for a product, or you're not standing for a something that needs to be changed. You're not standing for that right now. I'm not, because I only know one side, be it the social media side,
right,
or be it the Board of Supervisors side or an individual side, there are reports that those supervisors get that need to be reviewed and understood so you can make a logical decision. My past history as a project manager taught me how to do that.
Right.
So I'm not going to commit to something that I don't have both sides of it.
That's kind of the point I was trying to make. There's always two sides of the story. Sometimes we're hindered by different
I
things.
call that minutia.
Well, how do you feel? I mean, we're running against Mr. Sayre. Do you have any comment? Do you think he sometimes he comes out and says that, he's tried to bring this to light, but he's just one lone voice in this.
He may have been one lone voice and that may be true. I don't know. I don't believe it to be true. I believe that there were others before him, like Mrs. Eggers again,
right,
that was bringing that to light. And he should have stood there and backed her and fought for her, put out press releases, got the people involved, got the town council on his side, and talked more about it.
Right.
Communication is the key in this whole thing.
Well, I know that brings up, we have a lot of closed sessions, and there's a place for closed sessions.
Yes, sir.
But you wonder sometimes, I think the public thinks that they're hiding something when everything's a closed session.
And I can understand where that is. I've tried to learn about closed sessions, and some of the Board of Supervisors have talked to me and spoke to me directly about that. And I don't disagree with closed sessions, because there are times when we don't want the public to know. We want the public to understand. If I'm talking to you about your employment history or your employment future, I don't want everybody and their brother to know. That's between the council and you.
Right.
Same goes for a contract. Same goes for the EDA. What is the EDA doing? And they're doing the right thing by coming to us and bringing it to us. But there are things that just should not be released about that.
Or at that time.
Yeah, at that time, because if it gets released, they could lose an opportunity.
Right.
Let's not get people to lose the opportunity.
Right.
This town is in need of jobs, in need of industry, in need of so many things that will keep our community growing and build our tax base. And let's understand why a development can happen, or why it shouldn't, or why it should. It has to be smart growth, not growth.
Right, smart growth. Well, we call it the social media crowd or the Facebook
Yes.
crowd, and is pounding on the pulpit, demanding that our supervisors all resign and clean the house. I call it the broom party. Let's just sweep them out, right?
Yeah.
But there's a lot of that. There's a few vocal people that are doing that. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I can only speak for my opponent, because I've got one race, and that's
Right.
mine. On September 24th, I actually called him up after all of this indictment stuff happened, and I called him up and I said, Tom, I understand that you got indicted. I understand that there is going to be a tremendous amount of information that's going to be coming out. And I believe it is in the best interest of the county and the town for you to step aside. Not because I want to win, and believe me, I do want to win. I don't want to win that way.
Right.
But the honorable and the right thing for him to have done would have been to step aside, stop running. And then on top of that, he should resign as the Board of Supervisors, or a member of the Board of Supervisors. And I believe all of them should. All of those people that were indicted, if they're faced with all of the information that's coming their way, legal fees, attorneys, citizens are coming to them and beating them up over the same thing over and over and over again. How in the world can you conduct the business of the county and the town when all of that is happening?
Right.
So I asked him again, step aside. He has not. He has agreed to pay his own legal fees. I support that. And I believe that he he should be talking to his other board of supervisors and say, if you can afford it, pay your own, because it's the right thing to do. If you're acquitted, and I'm not a judge and I'm not a jury, I'm just a guy that is trying to do right. If he's acquitted, and if they are acquitted, then they should have the right to at least get some of their money back from the county. We shouldn't be paying for their legal defense. I'm totally against that 100%.
What about visions for the future? What do you think? I mean, we know we have already got the best location because we all think that, and it is. We have beautiful scenery, we got tourism, we got the river, we got the Skyline Drive, we got proximity to Washington, D.C. over some of our surrounding counties. But it seems like, for instance, let's use Frederick County as example. Every day I see the governor announces this, the EDA from Frederick County is announcing new businesses moving there, and I'm thinking, those could have all come to Warren County.
That's correct. I believe that they could. And you stole some of my thunder.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. Because I believe in the county. And I believe that we do have great rivers. We do have 2 freeways going up and down the road.
Exactly.
We've got the inland port.
Location.
I mean, everything that we should have, we have. But what we're not doing is reporting. You had said that Frederick County is announcing. What are we announcing? And why are we not announcing the good stuff?
All we're announcing is we've all been indicted. I mean, yeah.
Yep. There's plenty of bad going out there. And what we need to do to start healing this community is to start talking about the good things. And we got plenty of it. And if we don't, we will never heal our fractured community. That's one of the first things that we need to start doing. We need to get into the budget that we're so heavily taxed on to make sure there's no waste, there's no fraud, there is no reason for it to be as high as it is. But if it's just given and it's approved and we're not getting into it, that's our fault.
Right.
And we need to have the communication from our community to help us. We don't know everything. And me in particular, I'm not a politician. I don't know what I don't know yet. Right. But I'm learning every day.
That's right. That's what they say is what you don't know is what you don't know, or something like that.
And it's very difficult for a newcomer like me that wants to see the community grow and prosper and not have our county be the biggest employer in the county.
Right.
We need some wins, and we need to get rid of some of these buildings and things that we have that are of no real use to us. Get it back out there so it can be sold. And the EDA is doing a decent job. They've got as many as they can get for sale.
Right. Nothing works better than free enterprise system. Government is not our answer.
Right.
And I think that you believe that, and you've worked in private industry after your military career. I know you are a veteran.
Yes.
And I think you believe in free enterprise and capitalism, and I think that's what we need. We need to turn our entrepreneurs loose. We were in last week or so and talked to a group of guys that were entrepreneurs and trying to bring things and businesses to the county. Of course, I got beat up. The women came on there and said, well, how come you didn't have any women entrepreneurs? Well, we have a lot of women entrepreneurs, and they're coming on soon. So I think there's a lot of good things happening. We just need to get the word out and get that positive movement. And I think it looks like we are going to have, a change in the board. We know we're going to have at least 2 new members.
Yes.
And
we're going to have 3.
You could be our 3rd new member, and that will definitely change the flavor of the Board of Supervisors.
Well, the atmosphere will definitely change. And I believe that one of the big things that we've got to do is we've got to build the trust back in the community to get them to understand and to believe that the people on the board are actually trying to do the best that they can with the information that they have. And there may be somebody out there in the community that may know something else. They need to tell us.
Yes.
Communication is a huge key in this.
Right.
I mean, I was at the Board of Supervisors meeting when there was 50, 60 people that screamed about the legal fees. I get that. I like I said, I support them not fronting their own legal fees. But I'd love to see that at every meeting, not just that particular one.
You've been
that
to some
one,
where there's only 2 or 3.
I've been to some where there's none.
Right.
And that gives the board the ability to do what they feel is the best for the community. If they don't have any opposition, it must be right.
Exactly.
That's not always true, though.
Yeah, I can remember talking to one of the board members and telling them that we have a problem with being business friendly. Oh, we're business friendly because no one's ever complained. That was the answer. Well, no one's complained to me, so it must be good.
All right. I mean, I hear comments like, it doesn't matter, they're going to do what they want anyway.
Exactly. I hear that a lot.
And that is not a right response.
Right.
Those constituents should say they're doing what they can. They're doing the best that they can. And I believe in them. And it's up to me to be proved wrong. And so one of the things that I'm proposing is to have a quarterly meeting with all of the people at least in my district, hopefully coming from all over, that will sit in a room across from me and throw questions and tell me things that are happening that I don't know, and communicate. And it's free, open association. And when I'm elected, one of the first things that I'll do, and I promise this, is go set up some meetings for at least the first year to see how many people that we get to come to the meeting, so we can continue on for the second year and the third year and the fourth year.
You know, everything revolves around, let's say, relationships and
Yes.
communications, and sometimes, people forget that. We use the 2 ears and 1 mouth analogy. So, I think we really need to follow what God has given us, 2 ears and 1 mouth, and I think that's the thing. And I've heard people talk about the Mayor Tiedrich has talked about citizen input and citizens committees. We don't know everything.
Right.
We need to have citizen ad hoc committees help bringing us information to make decisions on.
I agree with that 100%. Without the citizen input, the Board of Supervisors is just 5 people sitting up there.
Well, one thing I'll mention, you've kind of started to do this already, a coffee with Walt.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a program, and people do that. We had our coffee with cops this
Yes.
week, and I think really it doesn't hurt some people will show up, maybe no one will show up, but I think making yourself available and feel open. It's like we have town halls with our congressman. Our new congressman Ben Klein is doing that and making it an effort. We had issues with our previous congressman, would just do it over the telephone because he didn't want to take the heat, I think people accused him of. But the new one he's getting out there in the public and taking the good and the bad. And I think it's all about building trust. And I think that's really what any relationship's about, is trust. If you lose trust, that's the problem we have now. We lost trust.
You don't have to believe in everything that I say. You just don't. But what I want to express to everybody is you have to understand that there's 2 sides to everything. And talking louder or talking aggressive or talking any way other than a communications port or having a actual conversation is not productive. If we're going to talk and discuss these things, let's talk and discuss them. Let's not argue about them.
Right. That's not discussing.
That's not discussing.
Right.
And I've had great conversations with a lot of great people. And admittedly, some of them are not on my side.
Right.
That's fine.
But it enlightens you.
It enlightens me, and I can understand, and I can go, well, I'm not doing this because. They don't care sometimes.
Right.
And it's okay that they don't.
Right.
What I've got is input.
Right. Well, we got 30 days about left for the election. You have any plans? We're going to be seeing you out and about. We know
Yes.
that's true. We know you're going to be out and about.
Well, people will see me driving around in my little car, and they'll see me at Festival of Leaves. We've got another meet and greet already scheduled for the 8th of October. Those will be posted on my website. We will constantly set up places between now and then to be available. I am available on my website. All you got to do is send me a note. Walt, I want a sign. If I've got the sign available, they'll have it the next morning, if at all possible.
Sure.
And I'm talking to both Democrats and Republicans and independents. And to me, because I'm not politically minded, I don't care. Local politics should not be in this race. It shouldn't be about signs. It should be about the content that the Board of Supervisors is putting out there and helping them solve issues that the community has. And me and the other new members, and plus the old members, we will effectively make change together. But we can't do it all, and we can't do it immediately. Took a long time to get here.
Right.
It's going to take a while to get out.
Not like television. It's not 60 minutes. We're going to have everything done.
Yeah, we don't have an hour show to solve the problem. But what we do have is we do have the luxury of term limits. I don't mean to throw term limits in there, but my term limits are simple. If you don't want me, vote me out.
Right. That's what I tell people all the time. We do have term limits. All you got to, they're in the voting booth, but sometimes we keep electing the same people over and over and over again.
Right.
All righty. Anything else you want to talk about?
I don't think so.
All right.
I mean, I'm fine. I can't stress enough how I feel about our community. And I want to hear people tell me back that, yeah, you're right on the money, but here's what the problem is.
Exactly.
Let's
or
fix it.
You're not listening, you know.
Yeah, you're not listening.
You're not listening. I think that's really kind of the underlying thing with anything in politics. People feel like their representatives don't listen to them.
Right.
And primarily because they don't get what the results they want. Sometimes I do listen, but I just can't do anything about it.
Right. There are times that we're going to address many things, and it won't be the one that everybody wants. So let's deal with it and move on.
Right.
Everybody's not going to be pleased. I'm not going to be able to please everybody, but I want to be able to please the community as a whole, because that's what I would represent.
Well, Walt, I appreciate you coming in, talking to us today. We got, let's say, 30 days left. Maybe we'll get you in one more time before the election. I'm trying to get all the candidates together to come in to get things off their chest and let public know a little bit more about the candidates. So we really, again, appreciate you going. Walt is going to be available at several meets. We'll put his web address and thing at the bottom of the story. Check it out. Get to know these candidates. Remember, the voting is November 5th. That's when it is, November 5th. It's a Tuesday. It's important. Every vote counts.
And,
you know,
and those that can't get out, we've got absentee ballots or we've got absentee forms available. You're getting my web address. If you want one, for that, I don't care who you vote for as long as you vote.
Right.
Hopefully it's for me. But if you want to vote absentee and you can't get a form available to do that, let us know. Let me know. We'll get it out to you.
Right. It's important to vote, and there's a lot of opportunities. You can vote early. You can vote on absentee. There's just no excuse not to vote. Correct. I think we've missed the registration deadline, but still get registered for the next time.
Well, you can register up until the 15th. As long as you get your information in before the 15th,
good.
You'll be a registered voter.
There we go. So check with that. Don't pass up your American right to vote.
That's right.
That's what I love it. I love it. All right. Again, Walt, thanks again. I really appreciate it. And this is all we're going to say for this time, but we have plenty to say, but I think we're going to run out of time.
Thank you a lot.
Thanks again.
I appreciate you taking
Sure.
the time.
Thank you.